Welcome back to Crispy's Projects. I'm Chris and this is my half electric seat. In this episode I am going to be running through fitting this semi-electric seat. It is only half electric because it's only got forwards and backwards and lumbar support, so the lumbar support was the most important. That's come out of a Passat and it is really comfy because we did take this van down to France. And that's a fair old drive even before we've got to the port of Dover for me. So I'm going to take you back to when the van was stripped and just see how I did it. So it's actually quite easy to replace this seat, but yeah, it's just a little bit worn. It's quite nice, quite comfortable actually. Just worn a little bit there, so I was going to repair that. But then I found the other seat for not much money. So we're going to take this off. So it's dead simple. This one's got 13 mils either side, so seat all the way back. Oh yeah, that doesn't fit. So what we'll do, we'll raise the seat up. Get that on. Go round to the back, slightly different on the back. So they're 10mm tri-hex. Hasn't got airbags underneath, so there's no wiring underneath there. But look, there's a lot of dirt. That's a little bit easier in the van because we can just pull it out backwards. I was wrong with me calculations. It doesn't really fit. Oh, kerfuffle. It's a nice looking seat anyway, with a little thingy in the back. Anyway, be nice in there. It's the right sort of height. I think I need to rethink this. This one is going to sit in any VAG related car, no problem, because they pretty much all have the same bottom frame. But no, the Transporter's got to be a little bit different, being the commercial. So let's measure the difference. This is centre to centre. We'll go roughly 48 centimetres. Centre to centre on this one, 39.5. So we're going to need to make some brackets up. At least clean the top of this off. It's actually quite filthy underneath there. All of it isn't my dirt, honestly. That might have been mine. Myself a couple of sets of number plates because these are, you know, a little bit sturdy. These aren't going to be the brackets, but they make excellent templates. So I'm going to mark that one there. Now I'm going to take this one as far that way as possible because I can always, the plan is to actually trim this down. So I've got these bolts in here all lined up. We can see it's noticeably wide, so we're just going to strain it up. We just need to mark the inside of there so we drill the hole in the first place in the right area. And there we've got a mark. Bolted in. I'm actually quite surprised on how good a job I've done with the measuring. A bit off, but I'm just going to set this mark because this one has got a little locator pin just in there, so I'm going to drill the hole for the locator pin and that's going to be my fixed point. I've just fitted it in that single pilot hole. I'm looking at it and thinking, I think I've made a mistake here. It's offset to the steering wheel and that is going to annoy me so much. As I'm looking at it, knees, I know it's very hard to judge perspective wise, but I've got room there. So after remeasuring everything and sitting in the seat multiple times, it works out that hole pretty much tallies up with the original spacing, so the VAG crew must have knew what they were doing when they were designing the seat. And the internet said it was dead easy to replace this seat with another one. It's not, because I'm looking at it and it needs to be safe. So there's a couple of things to point out here. If it's central, the seat is offset to one side and it doesn't line up with the steering wheel. There's a little bit of a gap there, and there's a massive gap that side. And I just can't have that, because if you've ever driven a really badly designed car, this is from the factory, and the seat's being offset to the steering wheel and maybe the pedals out a little bit, it is horrible to drive, even at a short distance, never mind a long distance. So let's get the seat and this little seat base out and just try and work out what am I going to do with it all. Give it power, and we've got movement. So the main reason I've got it is it's so much more of a comfy seat, and it's got lumbar support as well. Yeah, that's nice, that. So you can see by the size of the bracket that needed to be made to extend it over, it is absolutely hanging over. So that's 5mm steel, so that's really strong, but because there's no rib support in there, it does bend a little bit. So my thought process is that, one, if there was an accident, that could potentially bend or just move over time. So I'm just going to put a little rib support in there and just try and finish this off a little bit, just make it a little bit more OEM. Taking the seat base out, clamping it all the way, because I'd had it pretty much there but I just couldn't get the angle right. So I'm going to fill that weld in now, nice thick weld, so that's going to give it plenty of support. I'd ended up taking the seat out. I decided to fix the bracket just to finish that off. So it's not the prettiest thing, but essentially the bolts are going to be hidden away. So the main thing for me is it is dead square, dead central with the steering wheel. So that is one of the biggest things that annoys me on any cars. So it's pretty much in line with brake pedal, centre of the steering wheel, centre of the seat. It's just going to make a comfortable drive. So I have finished this off in a bit of black hammer. It just looks a little bit smoother there. If I had time to put a bit of body filler on there, that would certainly smooth that up. But that is basically thick pure steel, and it's very solid, and there's no give in any of this because the way I've braced it, just making it into a triangle rather than just an L shape. This bit out here probably gives a little bit of support, but almost none. Would I pick this seat again given the choice? Possibly not, and the only reason is, for me in the van, this section needs to be tilted a little bit higher. So there is versions which might be Audi and some of the Passat CCs, I think, possibly not the luxury Passats, and possibly some Golfs, where there's an extra switch here which can tilt that up and down, so that movement, because it just feels a little too flat. It's not flat, it's better than the van, but I would prefer it a little bit better because it does go quite low down, whereas the other seat was a lot more higher in position. But of course it's manual forward and backward. So the electrics from this basically run off the leisure battery, which is fitted underneath the seat, and here's the fuses, so it runs off one of those fuses. Probably it's one of the 15 amp ones, and it has got the option for electric seat. So I've picked up a single switch, which was a bit of an eBay bargain for a couple of quid, for just one single T5 electric heater seat, which sits quite nicely in the dash. So that's going to be a nice little addition. And I'll just run the heated seats from the actual leisure battery as well, and just whatever control goes onto there, because it has got a control module underneath here. which should be compatible with this, but only one way to find out. I'll probably work that out roughly around Christmas. But if you found this useful, consider looking at some of the other videos, subscribing, at least just give it a thumbs up, nothing else. Do you know what? Just a thumbs up, nothing else. Don't even think about subscribing. But in the next video, do you know what? I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I've got quite a few little bits, possibly something tricky with the windows, something possibly with the electrics, because I need to share some of the electric stuff. But either way, I'll see you in the next one, and it's a ta-ra for me. Ta-ra. Where's my coffee?